Welcome to Box Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the movie The Last Voyage of the Demeter, released in 2023. The movie begins on the 6th of August 1897. A cargo ship is heading from Romania to England when its wreck is found on the shores of England. A lighthouse crew finds the wreckage, and upon further inspection on the ship, they find out that there are no survivors on board. They recover a captain's log, detailing an account of what led to the crew's demise from days earlier. The log also contains a warning about the creature. The men then look at the wrecked ship and get scared. Then they leave. Then we go a few weeks back, when Captain Elliot and his first mate, Wojciech, were looking for crew members to board the Demeter to sail to England. They need to get the cargo loaded on the ship as soon as they can. They need more men for that too. They are approached by a doctor named Clemens, who previously studied at Cambridge. The doctor wanted to go to England. However, Wojciech turns him down in favor of 3 other men. Some of the men return the captain his money and tell them that it is getting dark and that they should be on their way. Clemens follows them anyway. As the men are gathering their cargo onto the ship, one of the men gets spooked when he sees a crate that has the symbol of a dragon on it. This causes him to lose his grip on it. The crate slips and nearly crushes Elliot's grandson, Toby, but Clemens pulls him out of the way in time. Elliot thanks Clemens for saving Toby and invites him to the ship. The man who dropped the box leaves the ship, fearing that the dragon symbol is a bad omen. Before leaving, he even argues with Elliot. Elliot is very thankful to Clemens, and he boards the ship, along with the crewmates Abrams, Olgren, Petrovsky, Larson, and Joe Joseph. The cargo gets loaded, and they are ready to go now. The ship finally starts its journey, and the people on the dock look at it scared, and also pray for the betterment of the crew. Toby gives Clemens a tour of the boat, showing him the livestock and his dog, Huckleberry. Later, Captain Elliot is seen writing in his logbook. He writes that it might take them 4 weeks to get to England. At this moment, we see Wojciech, who comes to the captain. We get to know that the captain is going to retire from the ship as he gets to London. He had promised his son that he would raise his grandson, Toby, on a farm side. The captain is going to leave the ship to Wojciech to control. Wojciech is happy about it, but he is sad, as he has served under the captain for a long while. Clemens later dines with the crew. The captain tells everyone about their salary. Clemens says that he does not need the salary. His desire is to understand the way the world works. Meanwhile, the crate with the dragon symbol begins to move and falls over, and something appears to emerge from it. While looking out at night, Olgren is visited by Clemens. He tells Clemens that he has seen some creature on the ship, but Clemens does not believe him. Then we hear some sounds from the place where the livestock is kept. The crew members check it out, but find nothing. The crew members make their way to England, but they later discover that something violently killed Huckleberry and the livestock. Toby is devastated by Huck's loss, and because he was entrusted by Elliot to look after the animals. But Clemens comforts him after the men toss the animals overboard. They investigate the cargo and find a woman just barely alive, having been stowed away in one of the crates. Wojciech thinks that it is not a good sign, and thinks that they should throw her into the waters. The captain stops them and asks Clemens to take care of the lady. Clemens administers blood transfusions to keep her stable, but that might take too much time. Petrovsky makes derogatory comments regarding Clemens and the woman, and when Clemens attempts to retaliate, Larson holds a knife at him. Toby later tells Clemens that the woman has been speaking slightly, and Toby has listened to her. He tells him that her name is Anna, and it seems that she's afraid of someone or something. He also tells him that she keeps on repeating one word: feed. Clemens goes to the deck and meets Joseph there. Joseph tells him that he cannot hear the rats on the ship anymore. Clemens tells him that they must have died due to an infection, just like the rest of the animals. Joseph tells him that he thinks there's something on the ship which is killing all these things. At night, Petrovsky is keeping watch on deck, while the rest of the crew sleeps. He hears a knocking sound and goes to investigate. He then sees that a part of the deck is broken, and then he sees a sickly-looking creature crawling on deck. Before he can do anything else, the creature lunges at him and slashes his throat with its claws. Then the creature proceeds to suck his blood out. The crew becomes weary when they find Petrovsky's blood smeared across the deck. The crew members find a knife near his body. Wojciech initially accuses Clemens, even though he was the one who reported Petrovsky's demise, but the captain stops them. Clemens tells the captain that he had observed the marks on the animal bodies before throwing them overboard. He thinks that the wounds looked more like bites from some creature. Anna comes to her senses and runs towards the deck. She had heard what they were talking about and started to scream that there was something on the ship. Clemens calms her down, as he thinks that she's doing this because of a bad dream. He takes her to a room and asks her what she is talking about. She tells him that this creature is very evil. It lives in a castle in the mountains. The creature only comes out at night and feeds upon the blood of humans and other living creatures. She tells him that the people called the creature Dracula. She was its prisoner at its castle. The creature used to drink her blood a little every day. She says that now the creature is on the ship and nothing will survive. Later at night, Olgarin and Larsen are keeping watch on deck when the same creature attacks Larsen and drags his face across the deck. Before devouring him, Olgarin climbs high up to escape the creature, only for it to follow and bite into Olgarin's head, leaving him alive. The ship starts to move out of the course, and the captain, along with the crew members, rush to the deck. They find Larsen dead, but Olgarin is still alive. They strapped him to a bed. The captain and the rest of the crew start to look all over the ship for this creature, but find nothing. As the night falls, he becomes free from his bindings and goes after Toby. The captain had left Toby in his cabin. Now we see that Dracula gets out of its container. As Olgarin has now become a bloodthirsty drone, he's going after Toby. Toby hides in the captain's quarters and locks himself in. The rest of the crew realizes something is wrong and heads below deck. They subdue Olgarin and try to break through the door. They can see that Dracula is inside the room with Toby. Toby is being stalked by the creature, and suddenly it attacks Toby and starts to drink his blood. Anna comes by and grabs a rifle to blow the lock off the door, but Toby has already been attacked by the creature, who has taken most of his blood. Anna shoots at the creature, but it runs away. They grab Toby, who is now unconscious, so Clemens treats him as well. They tie Olgarin to a pole, and when the sun rises, he starts to burn. Wojciech shoots him to kill him peacefully, even though he's a crew member. All of them sit and discuss the situation. Clemens says that, by now, Toby also must have had the same side effects that Olgarin was showing. Joseph says that they should kill him before he kills everyone on the ship. Clemens says that they must find out what caused all this. Only that way they might be able to cure Toby. So they start to look for the creature in the cargo. They open the box with the dragon, but find nothing inside. Abrams is left to keep watch on the deck at night. Joseph knocks him out and tries to take a lifeboat to get off the ship and away from the creature. The creature has been evolving, as it killed more and more people. Now the creature can fly and manages to find Joseph and kill him, letting the boat come back to the Demeter empty but bloodied. Anna talks to Clemens and explains that she knows what the cause of all this in her village is. She lived near a castle where the creature dwelled. He is none other than Dracula. He has bitten Anna and was planning to use her as blood rations, but the transfusions that Clemens gave her prevented her from turning like Olgarin. She tells him that there's no one left in her village with good enough health, so Dracula is now going to England. Elliot wants to stop at the next port for the crew's safety, but they protest because it would mean they would not get a bonus payment as was promised. Fearing Toby will suffer the same fate, the crew wraps him in a sheet and prepares to throw his body into the ocean after Anna says a prayer for him. Elliot becomes delusional in his grief and thinks Toby is moving. He runs towards him and opens the sheet. Toby has now become a vampire. He attacks Elliot, but the sunlight burns him too. Elliot suffers burns on his skin from touching the boy. They immediately throw him into the ocean, where he ultimately dies, and Elliot is left in despair. As the Demeter gets closer to England, the crew fears what may happen if they bring Dracula with them to England. They make a plan in which they decide they must kill Dracula. Clemens tells them that the only way to kill Dracula is to take him down along with the ship. Elliot becomes more delusional, believing that they can use Dracula to revive Toby, but Anna talks him down from it. The crew resolves to make their final stand with Dracula by bringing him down with the ship, even though Wojciech doesn't want to because he claims the ship is his home, but eventually he agrees. As night falls and the crew gets ready for Dracula's appearance, they set up many traps to catch him. The vampire beast swoops by and kills Abrams first, while Elliot plans to go down with the ship. Wojciech falls through the deck and breaks his leg. He's about to make a hole in the ship, but Dracula kills him before going after Elliot. Clemens shouts at the beast and tells it that it is not God. He then attempts to fight Dracula, but the monster grabs Clemens by the throat. Clemens tells Dracula that he does not fear him, and the vampire speaks for the first time, saying, "You will." Anna grabs a rifle and fires at Dracula. Dracula is not affected by anything and attacks her. Clemens attacks Dracula to save Anna, but by now she has again been bitten by that monster. As Clemens fights the monster, Anna then cuts the mast down so it can pin him down. She and Clemens make it off the Demeter as it crashes against the shores in England, where the lighthouse crew finds it and Dracula flees. Clemens and Anna are floating on a raft. Anna is slowly turning into a monster just like Toby. The morning comes, and Clemens sees that the sun is rising, which means that Anna will also burn into ashes. He suggests making another transfusion. She says it will not work, and will only prolong the inevitable. She bids him farewell and separates from him as the sun begins to rise, and she burns to death. Clemens eventually arrives in London, while the entire crew of the Demeter is reported dead. The entire city is filled with the terror of Dracula. Clemens goes to a nearby pub to seek out the abbey where Dracula once lived, and then hears the same knocking sound from the ship. The evil vampire is there in London, disguised as a man carrying the same wolf cane he came on board with. Clemens follows Dracula outside and vows to not rest until he sends the creature back to hell, once and for all. And the movie ends here. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.